In today's video, I'm going to be showing you what I use to climb using my saddle gear and my two-stick method in addition to a Bullman step to show you the height that I can get to with just those three things and a 5-step aider. My name's Clint Campbell and I run the Truth from the Stand Deer Hunting Podcast. If you're not familiar with the channel, we cover all things bow hunting, tricks, tips, and tactics. And today I'm going to show you my two-stick method for climbing a tree, whether you're using a saddle or a tree stand. If you've not subscribed to the channel, hit the subscribe button and the bell notification below this video to make sure you get all the upcoming videos and podcasts. All right, one of the most frequent questions I get on the podcast is how do I climb using my saddle gear and what exactly am I using? So I thought I'd do a quick video today and show you what I'm using in my two-stick method. So what I really always start out with is a tethered, this year the Phantom saddle. I've used the Manus for the past 2 years, both great saddles, but this year I'm using the Phantom saddle. I use a Predator pack, you can see it here, with 2 Lone Wolf sticks that I've customized to 17 inches with a top double step. And what I'm using to kind of get to height are these 2 sticks, a 5-step black diamond climbing aider, and then I'm using 1 Bullman step if I need to get just a little bit higher. I have a tape measure with me today, so we'll see exactly how high I can get to platform with just 2 steps and a 5-step aider, and then we'll add the Bullman step in and see what height I can get to adding that additional Bullman step in. I'm guessing probably between 18 and 20 feet when all is said and done. So I'll usually try to pick out a tree that is around basketball size in diameter at climbing height. This tree behind me is just probably a little bit bigger than I would like, but it sets up nice to do the demo of the climb. So I get to my tree, pull my pack off, start pulling my sticks off. I have some loops here on the side of my saddle that I hook the additional stick into. That way I can put it up as I'm climbing. I can kind of climb hands-free and, of course, using a lineman's rope for safety. So this minimal setup or minimalist setup that I'm using today is what I would use during early season with a Predator platform, Predator pack. The only other thing I would add to this would be a Sitka tool belt. That would be more so if I was going to self-film on certain hunts, that I might take that to add a little bit of extra gear, be able to carry my camera, my GoPro, and things like that. But otherwise, I usually run a pretty slim setup. So we'll go ahead and start climbing the tree. So what I'll do here is I basically just set 1 stick on the ground, turn the stand off on this stick, and put it through a piece of 550 paracord that I have attached to my saddle, and then flip it around here. That way it hangs on my side, and I can do all my climbing hands-free. Take the 1 stick here. These are just regular Lone Wolf sticks that I cut down to 17 inches and put a double step on it. This one actually has a beast double step on it, which I kind of like. But in this case, I'm going to have to use the Versa loops. I just don't have enough enough slack to tie. So seat it, make sure it's not going to kick out on me. We're good to go. Next thing I'll do here is pull out my lineman's belt and clip it to my lineman's loop. That way it's there and ready for me whenever I get up. Always use your lineman's belt. A lot of times I won't use it to the first stick. Once I get on top of the first stick, then I'll set my lineman's belt. And this right side, I have my 5-step aider. Keep it wrapped up. The important thing with this is you want to loop it around the standoff so you get pressure down the center of the stick and not off to the side. And for that, what I have here is a piece of am steel that I made a loop out of. Just made this with the fid set and a 1/4-inch piece of am steel. This is rated for about 6,000 pounds if I'm not mistaken. So plenty strong enough to hold me as I'm climbing. And then the other thing I have here is just a piece of 550 paracord. This will actually clip into my lineman's loop. That way I can drop this as I'm climbing to get it off the stick that I'm going to stand on to pull it up to me. So I have a movable aider. I don't have just a single aider that I'm using. I'm moving this with me as I'm climbing. The other addition here is I put some glow-in-the-dark tape around the stirrups so I can see these in the dark in the morning and in the evening when I'm climbing out. So just loop this over the top step, back on your standoff, make sure you're seated well. You're clipped in here to your lineman's belt so this doesn't drop to the ground, and you start climbing. The key to this is whenever you're climbing, you want to dig your toe into the tree and put pressure. That way you're not slipping off. So you want to really get your toe dug into the tree. So you want to make sure you have some sturdy boots on. Like I said, I usually don't use a lineman's belt on the first stick until I get to the top of it. Then at this point, I'll stop here, bring my lineman's belt around. With this, I'm just using the tethered lineman's belt with a ROPEMAN 1 to make it a little faster and easier to climb. Clip that in. Now I'm secured to the tree, and with one hand I can kind of give myself slack if I need to back off the tree a little bit. Now we're good to go. So then what I'll do is I'll bend down, grab this. If it's not stuck on the Versa button, pull that off the step, drop it, we're good to go. Step up on the top step, move your lineman's belt up, and now we're at first stick height. We're about 7 feet off the ground and we've used one stick. Second stick's right here, pull it off. What I like to do whenever I get to the first stick is I like to pull myself in tight to the tree. That way I can get as much height with this second stick as I possibly can. Try to get it to where I can just kind of reach it with and wrap the first knuckle of my fingers around the top step. Tie this one off if I can, instead of using the Versa loops. Now you just want to reach to your side here, grab your aider, pull it up, give myself a little slack here because you're going to want to get your aider in between you and the tree. Again, over the top step, on the back of the standoff, center it, make sure you're good. Usually here you got to give yourself just a little bit more slack to get your knee up and into your loop. Now you can kind of lean back into your lineman's belt to give you a little bit more stability. Bring your lineman's belt with you. And I'll tighten that up. Take the slack out. And now you're going to do the same thing. Bend down here. Grab your aider, let it drop. Now you're kind of set to where you're going to start to hang your platform. Usually what I like to do, stay right here and kind of hang it about waist height. And that's a good kind of spot to hang it to where your step isn't so high to get onto your platform. So we'll go ahead and drop a tape measure here and see how high we are. We're at about 15.5 feet where you would set your platform with 2 sticks. So if I needed to get a couple more feet, you could probably get 16 foot if you wanted to, which is about what I thought. So if you want to get just a little bit more, what I'll do here now is I've got my tether attached to me on the back. What I'll do now is take this off, just have it daisy chained there using a ROPEMAN 1. Wrap this around the tree. Because at this point I'm going to have to do a little bit of maneuvering around without the security of having like a full step. So what I'm going to do is set this up to where now I am completely tied into the tree beyond my lineman's belt. Utility bridge here, pull that down, take the slack out of it, close the carabiner. And now we're at a point now to where we're completely in the saddle at this point and good to go. So now we can give ourselves a little bit more slack here. So now we kind of have double safety kind of set up here to where we're in the lineman's belt. We're also tied off to the tether and completely attached to the tree. So if anything were to happen here, I might have to figure out a creative way to get down, but you're not going to hit the ground at this point. So now what I'm going to do is say this height actually is pretty good for this spot, but say we needed to get a couple more feet up. What I carry on my left side all the time is a Bullman step, which is just kind of a different version of what the Amera steps used to be. Plastic, lightweight. I'll pull that out of my left sis hauler here, and I'll figure out about what height I want to get and where I want to put this. Don't want to make it too high to step. I'm always going to use my left leg because I like to step off to my right into my platform. So I'm going to figure out like here on the left side, you guys can't see this, but probably about knee height where I'm at if I have my foot on this top step is where I'm going to put this step. That's enough of a step up. It's going to get me like another 2-ish feet. And then what I'll do is I'll set my platform probably about head height, and that's where my feet will be. The whole idea is this isn't a race. Slow is smooth and smooth is fast. So take your time, be careful. You'll get there, you'll be less sweaty, and you'll make less noise, which is kind of the name of the game. So now I have that step set up. I'm going to now take my pack off and I'm going to set my platform at height, which is probably going to be right below this knot. So this is kind of in the way, which is kind of a bummer. I'd maybe be able to get a little higher. So I just flip this around here. I don't know if you can see this, but what I'm using here is a night eyes tie to kind of keep everything tight. It kind of doubles as a holder as well. So what I'll do here is so I can go hands-free, I'll just wrap that around my lineman's belt. That way I can put my pack back on. So what I'm going to do here actually is I'm going to tie this off, because this happens sometimes when you're setting up, like you get into a position where you might need to kind of start removing some gear. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm tied off. I'm at hunting height for the most part. All right, so to get this thing set up, I'm going to just go ahead and undo my lineman's belt. I'm going to keep it here because I'm going to use it again here in a second. I might be overly cautious, but I like to try to stay tied in at 2 points as much as I can until I get to my platform. tighten this down while it's closed. You don't really have to cam these over, but I always like to kind of give it a nice push down, make sure we're going to be good to go. And then I go ahead and press it down while I'm sitting in my saddle. And now you're ready to start making your ascent up above it. So this is where I'll take my lineman's belt again, just again because I like to be connected at 2 points whenever I'm moving as much as I can, especially when I'm at climbing height. Tie in, I'm good there. Give yourself enough slack to get up and around this platform. Now what you're going to do is you're just going to step into the Bullman step. Bring your lineman's belt up, tighten it up a little bit. Step over onto this Bullman step, up onto the platform. Bring your lineman's belt up. There you go. Now I'm going to take my tether, lineman's belt, tighten that bad boy up. Now we're at height. We're secured in here. Tether's on the tree. Get your tether to height. I usually like to set mine about neck high. Pull the Ropeman one up. Give myself a little slack on this. Kind of situate my saddle for the sit. Like to pull it down just a little bit so where the top is just riding right along the top of kind of like my pants line. Before I release my belt the whole way, I kind of set and load the saddle and know that I'm kind of all the way in it. And then I set my comfort channels. For me, it's notch number 2 on the Phantom saddle, and we're in the tree. And then what I do is I basically just take this lineman's belt, wrap it up, put it in a assist hauler, and I pull this up, unclip it, and put it back in the assist hauler over here, and then we're good to go. So, but the other thing I'll use here is in this other side, I'll have a hitch strap, and this hitch strap is what I'll put around the tree to hang all my gear. And again, I'm not gonna hang it all up and take some extra time here. But the important thing is I have a carabiner on here. So whenever I get to climbing height, sometimes I'll use this to carry my sticks if it's not on the back of my pack. And so what I'll do here, once I get this out, it's kind of a reminder to take this carabiner off. And then what I do is I find this piece of paracord that's on the back of my saddle, and I clip the carabiner into that, because this is how I'm going to carry my platform down, because I'm not going to take the time to, you know, kind of do acrobatics on my sticks again to get the platform into my pack. I'm just going to clip it to this carabiner because I have a piece of paracord on the platform itself. And that's how I'll bring it out so I can get out of the tree a little bit more quickly, and then I'll pack up once I hit the ground. So let's take the tape measure now and see what kind of height we have here to our platform. Probably not as high as I would normally get because I got this knot in the way that I was having to try to work around. Still, for me, for most places I'm hunting, is thick. And so I don't really need to get to that 20 to 25 foot. I really want to get somewhere between 16 and 20 feet is usually appropriate for me. And so what we have there, close to 17 feet. So 17 feet. Probably could have got a little bit more with the Bullman step. Probably could have set the platform a little high, but I was dealing with a knot here. So I was either gonna have to get over this or get below it. And so in this climb, I had to get below it. I probably could have got another foot or two if that knot weren't there, and probably got around 18 foot. So 17, 18 feet with hardly any gear, and you're all set and ready to hunt. All right, so now that we're in the tree, we're gonna just kind of reverse the process and climb out. So the first thing I'm gonna do is get my lineman's belt back out. It's right here off my left side. I'm gonna put it around the tree. I'm gonna kind of support myself with that to a degree. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna loosen this. I'm gonna bring my tether down because you wanna be able to kind of grab it whenever you're standing on the top step of your stick to get it out of the tree. But I do want to still use it as like a backup in case something were to happen, that it'll catch me. If the platform were to give out, or a stick was, you know, that first stick was going to give out, or I slipped off this first Bullman step. So I've loosened what I need to loosen here, give myself a little bit more slack on this tether so I can get to my stick. Then I'm also going to give myself all the slack on this utilibridge because I had to tighten it up a little bit based on the length of my, or the height of my tether. I'm going to step down with my left foot onto that Bullman step, put my hand on this platform here. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and take the slack. This is why that Ropeman one's nice. I'm gonna take the slack out of that tether. That way I can kind of sit and get rid of this until I remove my platform. So now we're just kind of sitting in the saddle. To make it quick, you can just kind of do this, move it out of the way. Then you can get over on your stick all the way. And then you can get back on your lineman's belt. Give yourself a little bit of slack here on that. Tighten it up. There you go. Now you're fully in your lineman's belt. Good to go. Loosen your strap here on your platform. Don't need to wrap this up the whole way or pretty. I just do this, fold it, wrap this up, make sure you don't hit any metal here. You don't want to make any noise. Want a clean, quiet exit. Put it around the standoff, pull it tight. And then this is what that other carabiner was for that I mentioned earlier. Have a piece of paracord here on my platform, reach back and clip that carabiner into that piece of paracord. All right, and so now you're just descending like you normally would descend with sticks. Now at this point, we want to go ahead and get rid of our tree tether. What I like to do is shorten my utilibridge, wrap it underneath one of my pouches and over. That way it's out of the way. You can do all this stuff when you hit the ground. I prefer to just take care of it all on the tree. That way I'm spending less time on the ground. Pull my ROPEMAN 1 all the way up, and then go ahead and daisy chain this. Now to come down, I probably won't put this in the MOLLE attachment loops in the back because it just takes me a second to find that because they're kind of tight. So what I'll usually do is just daisy chain this up and then actually just kind of stick it right here on my LINEMAN'S loop, and I'll take care of it when I hit the ground. One step down here. Now we take care of our Bullman step. Wrap this up. Throw that in the pouch. Good to go there. We'll have to reorganize it once we get to the ground so I can fit my LINEMAN'S belt in. And now you're going to climb down like you climbed up using your 5-step aider. So it's just a reverse process. You want your aider in between you and the tree. My right foot comes off, just depends on what leg you like to climb with. Fish it down through, over the top step, onto the standoff. Got enough slack in my paracord. I always like to wiggle my foot on the way down and get my foot as far into this stirrup as I can. So I'll usually try to get all the way back to the arch of my foot, give myself a little bit of slack, because I'm going to partially use the tree and partially use my LINEMAN'S belt for my tension. And you just take your time coming down. And at night, this is when these glow-in-the-dark steps really kind of come in handy. Bring this down with you, lean back into it. All right, tighten this up just a little bit. Sometimes it takes a second to get this boot out and get it off the side of the tree. Good to go. Now what I'll do is I'll leave my LINEMAN'S belt on until I get this step off, or until I get this stick off. Once that stick comes off, I'll lose the LINEMAN'S belt for the last step. This is why I tie this instead of using the Versa straps or tying it with a loop in it versus like a regular rope mod, because I can just pull that out. If it gets wet, they get a little bit tight. Wrap my stick up, put it back through this paracord to carry down. That way I'm not dropping stuff out of the tree making noise. Now I will go ahead and take my LINEMAN'S loop off. Again, not recommended. You should always have a LINEMAN'S loop on. Not recommending you do this. It's just how I like to climb. I find it a little bit easier. Over the standoff. Good to go there. Now you're down. Pull this off. Wrap this stick up. And you're done. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope this helped some of you guys make some decisions about how you're going to climb this year, and good luck.